What's up, guys? Thomas Mott, joined by Josh Davis here, the Philly Special Show live on a Wednesday night. It is the Wednesday Linc Live. Josh, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing well. It is great to see you virtually since the last time I saw you in person. Well, that was great to get together there.
That's right. We were together in Dallas. We got brunch together with your wife and my girlfriend, and we didn't take a picture, which I thought was dumb. As soon as we left, I realized we're always virtually, and now we didn't actually take a picture. So
I know. We had the exact same thought too. I was like, "What? Shoot!" As soon as we're driving off, I'm like, "We didn't actually get a picture, so we have no proof that it happened." But it did. It did happen.
It did happen. It did happen. But back virtual here, and of course, Philadelphia no longer at their OTAs as well. So I guess technically some of their things could be quote unquote virtual. Though I do wonder if they all dispersed now and no one's at the NovaCare complex, or if there's still people who live in the area who aren't in Cancun for a month who are going to come back and work out on a daily basis. I'd be fascinated to know the day-to-day, ongoings that happen at the NovaCare complex right now.
It would be interesting to see. Yeah. I mean, you'd think that if someone said, "Hey, I'm just going to hang out here. Can I have access to the facility?" Give them the key or whatever and let them take after it. Sure. But I don't know. At the same time, when you're told, "Hey, you got about a month, maybe a little bit more, take some time." It's not the worst thing in the world. Go somewhere else and practice. But I mean, I know that both of us have talked about it. And Nick Sirianni said two things to the team: show up in the best shape of your life for training camp and stay out of the news. So hopefully we see that. It'd be nice to get a little bit of news, which we've gotten, I'm sure we'll start talking about. But the good kind of news. We stay out of the bad kind of news. We don't want to hear that or see any of that from the guys. But Nolan Smith, as we've kind of talked pre-show, he's in the news for the right reasons. And I'm sure, lots of people have seen by now, but at the Von Miller's Pass Rusher Summit. But just curious, your take. I know you did a show about it, but just overall, I mean, what does this do for you, for us as Eagles fans? And I guess, should we see something or expect something different because he's at, a Pass Rush Summit like this?
Well, there are two ways to look at it, right? First off, you read Von Miller Pass Rushing Summit, and Von Miller's there teaching, and Micah Parsons was there, Max Crosby was there. You're like, oh my gosh, he's obviously learning from the best. But then you go, wait a second, if Hassan Reddick isn't there, does that mean Hassan Reddick is not learning and getting, they're not all there. It isn't like every great pass rusher in the league is actually there. So you like to see the fact that he's going to this sort of thing, but just because you go to a pass rush summit hosted by Von Miller, it doesn't mean that if you didn't go, you're going to be worse than Nolan Smith. So, it's a fun story. You like to see him there. It's very good for the rapport with the fan base because it looks like he's working hard, trying to get better. Because I've said this all along, we don't know if he's going to be productive year one, right? I think he's going to be productive by year 2, year 3, year 4. Like he's going to come into his own. But year one, based on the production he had at UGA last season, it could be a little slower than people actually realize. Now, you are all in on Nolan Smith. I still love him. I don't want to, dog the guy, no pun intended, but there is no guarantee he gets 13 sacks this year, right? 6 would be quite the accomplishment from any sort of rookie pass rusher who wasn't taken inside the top 5, right? If you're Nick Bosa, the expectation is 10 your rookie year. If you're number 30 overall draft pick and there are multiple pass rushers taken ahead of you, the expectation is 6. So we can get excited about it. I don't think that it changes him either way, but I love the fact that he's working and trying to learn. And if we're being honest, who are the guys he should model his game after? Hassan Reddick, who he already worked with at OTAs and will get to study under every single day during training camp. Von Miller, Micah Parsons, right? Those are your 3 outside linebackers who are a little bit undersized, but they are very fast and bend well and can get around the edge. Those are the guys you want them to be around. So you're obviously fine by it, but I don't think it does anything in terms of I went to the Von Miller Pass Rush Academy, therefore I'm going to get 3 more sacks this year. Don't think so. Still great to see.
Yeah. Very good to see. To your point, yes, it doesn't mean automatically let's go ahead and pencil him in for defensive rookie of the year, or, he's going to have all these Pro Bowl seasons and be an all pro. There's, I'm sure, and I don't know, I didn't do any research, but I'm sure there's just as many that attended that camp and have not had good seasons as had good ones. So, but it's still cool. And I mean, I like it, the fact that he's taking some extra time and we see this work ethic. And there was a little bit of knock, hey, this guy's a soft player. There are maybe some potential work ethic concerns, which sounds crazy the more that we learn about this guy. But as you alluded to, I mean, I couldn't be higher on Nolan Smith. I love him to death. And I think that he's going to have a great year. That doesn't mean that I think he's going to have 10 sacks, because like you alluded to, the rotational pass rush in itself is going to kind of limit his snaps and limit his ability to do that. But I think when he's on the field, he's going to be very productive. But does that mean he racks up stats? Not necessarily, because, again, like you were talking about with Georgia, he didn't have great stats, but he played very well on that defensive front. And so I think he could do the same thing for the Eagles. Do they shift him? And there's been talks about, looking at a kind of an odd setup as a linebacker, potentially playing him, I guess on both sides, an edge rusher, but dropping him back a little bit to play some linebacker. I don't know what we'll see, but I do think that he's going to be one of those weapons that Sean Desai moves around on the field in different setups. But I just, the fact that he takes time to, hey, OTA's just wrapped up, and I'm going to go straight to the summit. Now, he probably planned this. It's probably not last minute news or last minute deal where he's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to take off there. But the fact that he already has relationships with a Von Miller, with a Michael Parsons and Max Crosby, and I think there's other Cam Jordan, Jeffrey Simmons, some of those other guys were there. I mean, that's great to be able to learn from those guys. The thing that I thought that was one of the funniest comments that I saw, I don't know if you saw this either, because it was blowing up on Twitter, obviously, with Nolan Smith being there, but the fact that Micah Parsons is teaching Nolan Smith, hopefully, to sack Dak Prescott, that's like, okay, cool. Yeah. Give us some tips of the trade of what we can do, how he should be working. But then he's going to parlay that into, because everybody starts saying, well, what about Hassan Reddick? What is he working out with him? Yes, he's going to work out with Hassan Reddick. But it's like, just get all the knowledge that you can right now. And it seems like he's soaking up all the information, getting all the reps that he can, and then lead up to training camp. I'm just, again, you could tell I'm all very high on Nolan Smith. There's a reason that I purchased his jersey. There's a reason that I'm all hyped up for him, but it's positive, right? I mean, we're not going to see a whole lot in OTAs. Yeah. Everyone looks impressive as they're going through the drills, but it's just you start to see, there's guys that you look at and read about, and you're like, okay, he has that it factor so far from what we've seen and heard, but it still has to translate on the field. So we'll see.
Is he the player you're most excited about from the rookie class this year?
Yes,
you have Carter and Sidney Brown, right? And
yes.
Okay. So
not to knock those players. I love all of them, because I in the show today I was like, I gotta be careful, because as soon as I say that, everyone's like, oh, these other rookies. I love them all. I love the picks, but yes, there's something about it to me that not only Nolan Smith's character, his work ethic, his passion, motivation, but the happy juice energy, that everyone's talking about for BG. But it's like, I don't know, there's something about him, and I can't even really grasp it or put it into great words of what it is, but I feel like, yes, he's got a lot of talent, but there's that extra motivation, the extra gear that he seems to have, kind of the Energizer Bunny. So yeah, I'm completely pumped up. Again, it may be a rookie season where we go, oh, hey, he had 5 sacks. He had 4 or 3 sacks. I mean, nothing crazy from a stats perspective, but the willingness to learn, the willingness to get better, and he's got that humility as well as being hungry. I'm totally hyped up on Nolan Smith.
Brandon Graham played 13 games his rookie year in 2010. He had 3 sacks. He had 0 in 2011 because he was injured. 5 in 2022. 3 in 2013. He didn't get above 5.5 until year, 6. So it can take a little while for these guys to figure things out. I want to do quickly one more thing on Nolan Smith, and then we will move on. First off, welcome everybody into the show. Got a bunch of people showing up here. Thumbs up if you guys are enjoying it. Ohana Means Family says, what's up, Thomas? What's up, Josh? What's up, man? How's it going?
What's up?
Is locked in. Alfonso Gudia is in there. Philly, the podcast. Joe Castro says, what's up, guys? What's up, Joe? Hope you're doing well.
What's up, Joe?
Brian Bidding says, love the show. Andrea, our jersey winner. They still haven't shipped, by the way, Andrea. I have not gotten a shipping notification on the Carter jersey
for me
yet.
It's pending, so Tyler will get his eventually. But
yeah, we sent you the order confirmation, but those things are still pending. I mean, geez, it's been over a month since the NFL draft, which is wild. Austin says the Eagles have the best team in the NFL. I think most people would agree with that. And some AFC stuff we'll talk about a little bit later on, which can change. Stephon Diggs and the Bills are quite the circus the past couple of days.
Yeah.
Quite the circus. Let's see. Brian says, gentlemen, it's going to be a great 5 to 7 years. We are so blessed. Yes, we are, 100%. Let's see here. Larry Jackson, feel like we'll have 4 immediate impact players from this draft. Going to be a bright future for the Birds. So keep giving your questions in. We'll keep answering those and keep moving on. One final thought on Nolan Smith here. Did you see that it was a tweet? It was a Jacob Media tweet. I don't know what personality said that, but he compared Nolan Smith to being Fred Warner. And I thought that was very strange.
Yeah.
I would need to listen to the entire context, because Fred Warner's a middle linebacker, Nolan Smith as an outside linebacker who's going to, really rush the passer mainly. You mentioned Sean Desai, obviously thinking about potentially, dropping him back in coverage, which he did with Hassan Reddick. So it's not anything out of the blue. That is going to be interesting to see where he's going to work in terms of Nolan Smith in individual drills, especially when you get to training camp, right? Is he with the defensive ends the entire time? Is he with the linebackers next to Davion Taylor and Nakobe Dean, working on how to play a true outside linebacker position? That to me seems something that shouldn't happen because you'd want him to rush the passer. That was his true real job at UGA. But in comparison to Fred Warner, maybe size and speed and athleticism wise makes sense, but he's not a middle linebacker, and they're not going to try and convert him. It just wouldn't make sense to me.
I agree. I saw the comment and I was kind of like, okay, I need to go back and look at it. I didn't hear a whole lot of the extra context around it. So I'm kind of with you, but I like the comparison. Yeah. I mean, that's a very good player to be compared to, but to your point, it's kind of like, okay, he's not going to play that middle linebacker spot. Now he may get moved into a linebacker role, but it'll be that outside linebacker, maybe drop into some coverage. But I think that he's too talented to rush the passer, and there's too much potential there to go, let's move him back and play him as more of a solidified linebacker and just kind of blitz here or there. But I don't know. I'd have to read into it more because I didn't get full context of it either.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's see. Brian says he has the engine mentality, smart and driven, OMG athletic freak. There is this, and I'm not harping on him, but I would love to know what other teams thought of Nolan Smith who might have needed a pass rusher in the early 20s who passed on him. What was their knock, right? Was it just production? Was it size? I have no idea. I would just be fascinated to see if people just straight whiffed on Nolan Smith and he went to 30. I mean, Lamar Jackson went super late in the draft. The other quarterbacks were taken ahead of him, and that obviously was teams overlooking it, so that can happen. But always would be curious how that guy got to 30 because it feels like he could be the steal of the draft, and if that's the case, Philadelphia is going to be, like people are saying in the comments, good for a very long time.
I agree. I was looking it up while you were talking, just the weaknesses, and this is potential because I didn't get reports on it, but the NFL.com's official scouting report, I think it's from Lance, who is that? I'll have to look back and see. Lance, whatever's Zierlein. But he said his weaknesses: slender through waist and hips with need for more mass, unable to generate speed to power conversion, rush plan can be monotonous and lacking counters, and unable to control, block, and shed quickly, exerts excessive strain to battle tackles at the point of attack, very average pursuit speed for a smaller player.
So I mean, he's small. That everything
basically that's lacking strength and speed and everything. But I mean,
small. Micah Parsons small,
right? And if you go and look at the weaknesses for Micah Parsons, there's some similarities there. Like when he was starting, there's he's good, but there could be some weakness. There could be some concerns, and I mean, we know how that turned out. And same deal with Von Miller. So it's always a little bit of a guessing game. I mean, how often are these scouting reports, you read them back to some Hall of Fame and you're like, wow, how wrong were you? But there's a lot of them, I'm sure, that are accurate. So I don't know. There's just something outside of just the actual physical skills. It's like the intangibles of Nolan Smith that he's different. I'm telling you, he is different.
Fun. Okay, let's go over here to Bloodshot 44. Matthew or Dilly. He says, hey, gents, do either of you play fantasy football? If so, who's your pick this year? First off, we both play fantasy football. Josh and I have never played in the same league, but he will get an automatic invite into my personal league that I've been running for a very long time. Yes. I was just thinking, reading that, we could do like a 20-person and fan entry fantasy football league and take 20 subscribers and do like a really tough league because 20 subscribers, right? There's like no one in, a couple of people. It's a thought. Although I will pose this question to you, Josh. Let's just answer Matthew's question here. You're the number one overall pick in your fantasy football league. Here's your big board. Who do you take this year?
Okay, I guess first question is, I'm assuming he's at a PPR. I know some are weird, but PPR. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I mean, if it's a PPR, I think if I'm one, I got to go Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the easy pick, obviously, with him being number one. But there's other ones that you could go with there. And, is Cooper Kupp going to rebound? And what are the Rams doing? But Justin Jefferson just seems like a lock. I mean, what he does on the field and the fact that Kirk Cousins, when in doubt, just launch it up there to him. So, I think that's probably the easy pick if I'm one. Now, if I'm like 3 or 4, depending on who gets drafted, that gets a little bit tough to me. I'm not sure.
Okay.
What about you, though? If you're at one, I mean, is it easy, Justin Jefferson?
If I'm one, it's either Tyreek Hill because that guy has like 1,800 yards every single year. He went 18 last year with Tua getting his head blown off. And you look at Christian McCaffrey, long and hard. Fascinating to see where Bijan goes. And then before we go ahead and move off from this, A.J. Brown is your first Eagle there. He's 16. You get A.J. Brown in the second round. If you're drafting like 10th, and then you're drafting again, 2 picks later. Oh man, you could. Devontae Smith is kind of my sleeper in fantasy. I'm really targeting this year. I always try to get at least one Eagle. I don't go Eagle heavy, but Smitty is kind of the guy you're like, okay, come on. This wide receiver 2 is Devontae Smith. you're going to wreck some people in
Yeah,
fantasy football.
you know, just my personal opinion, but I would prefer to have Devontae Smith over AJ Brown. Not that AJ is going to have a bad season. I think that Devontae is going to be a little bit above this year. I just there's something about it. The dad strength that he's going to have. It's just this year is going to take another jump. I think it's going to be crazy. But I usually get a little bit heavy, not crazy, but I got to pick some Eagles. Last year I had Jalen Hurts, I had Devontae Smith, and the Eagles defense. So I was doing pretty good.
Pretty good. Quick memory here, or quick reminder, if you're just joining us and you have not seen this, every super chat that happens between now and sometime during the preseason gets you an entry into our ticket giveaway. We're giving away 2 Eagles tickets to any regular season game, the game of your choice. And all you got to do is drop a super chat. Each dollar is an entry, so $1, 1 entry, $50, 50 entries, and we will let you pick which game you want to go to. We'll get you 2 tickets to that one. Might be one we go to, because Josh and I are going to go to multiple Eagle games this year. We'll let you go, give you the chance to sit with us. If you don't want to go, you live in Tampa, you want to go to the Bucks game, we can get tickets for that. So any super chat during the live shows is a chance to win 2 tickets. And honestly, tickets right now, $300, $400. If you got some during the single game ticket sales on Tuesday, which I did not, I didn't either. A couple $100, so chance to get them for a lot cheaper. Okay, Bloodshot 44, your thoughts on the third phase of the game. I feel like we needed to get better on special teams this offseason. They didn't do anything to get better besides bringing Zentner, the punter, and so far Aaron Siposs won the battle at OTAs, according to reports. He had better hang time, was what I read. So take with that as you will. Right now, who would be the punt returner in Philadelphia? I have no idea. I have no idea who is game one, number one of the depth chart, punt returner, kick returner on special teams. That is TBD. My hope is one of these undrafted guys makes the roster, kind of like how the Turpin guy did with the Cowboys last year, where he, had some good returns in the preseason, makes the roster, and it is a Pro Bowler on special teams. That's the hope, but it needs to get better. Josh and I have said this all the time, won't stay on it forever. That's the one phase that does need to get better, but you don't have to have the number 1 ranked special teams to win a Super Bowl. Just don't be the worst ranked special teams.
For sure.
And make your kicks, and Jake Elliott does that. So what are you going to do?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. You just don't need, it can be middle of the pack. That's great. But when you're dead last or you're almost last, it's an uphill battle. You got to win in all phases of the game. It's complementary football. And I'm, kind of what you're talking about there. I don't know. I don't know what we've done that or what we're planning on doing even to help solidify that area of the game. Like there's been question marks of, Michael Clay. What's the team to do scheming and how we're actually trying to attack different punts or kickoffs or anything there in the kick coverage.
Yeah.
I don't know. We did it, I think last show, talking about what's the scariest area or what's the one area on this team that gets you concerned. And I think we both kind of mentioned it a good bit, but it's special teams like that's a phase of the game that there is a definite weakness and we certainly need to improve. So I'm with you. There's plenty of time, but I'm hopeful we can get someone because it's nice with all the weapons we have in every other facet of the game. The fact that we don't have a solidified player that we can go, oh yeah, they're dangerous with the ball, whether it's a kickoff or a punt. I think we need to get a little bit better in that area of the game, to say the least.
Almost 150 people watching right now. Thumbs up. The thumbs up over 100 would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't. Josh just hit 6,000 subs. He's halfway to me. He's going to catch me here very, very soon. 6,000 subs in the Philly Special Show. Sub to him. Also, we're simulcasting on Josh's channel right now. So we're trying to make sure both channels have the live show going, which apparently they do right now. So curious where you guys are watching. My channel, Josh's channel. They're both simultaneously live. So sub to him. And then, of course, if you haven't subbed to me already, hit that red subscribe button. Josh's show today. It was funny here before we get back to comments. Josh and I talk all the time. We talk about shows. We obviously know our shows are going to overlap. They don't always overlap. There's a lot of times where it's like, wait, what did Josh talk about today? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Like Jake Elliott having a kid or whatever. I had no idea. And I watched Josh's and it pops up. Josh and I had very similar shows today. I finished recording mine. I finished editing it. And then I always clicked to see what Josh did. And it was like, wait a second. I was about to write the same exact title, change things up. We did very similar stuff today. It was just funny. But great
especially this time of year. Yes. The great minds think alike. And when the news is not a whole lot, like you get one main headline or something, it's like, okay, that's what we're going to go with. So it's bound to happen. But no, I think it's good.
Truancy says, what's good, y'all? I hope you get players are true. I hope these Georgia players, he put GUGA players are truly the right move. Other teams have tried this before and it doesn't always work out, and usually not all of Howie's first round picks are elite. True,
that's
but
fair.
Have they? I mean, I guess the only comparison is teams taking heavy Alabama players because they were winning national championships left and right, a couple of years ago. It's hit or miss, right? We have no idea if Nolan Smith's going to be good this year. No idea if Jalen Carter's going to be good this year. But isn't the consensus from everyone in the league, not just Eagle fans, that they will? right? And isn't that all you could ask for?
Yeah.
I mean, we had to convince ourselves Marcus Smith was good, right? We had to convince ourselves that Rager was the right pick instead of Justin Jefferson. You had to convince yourselves of some of these draft picks. No one was convincing you that Jalen Carter was the right pick at 9. We all were screaming, please take Jalen Carter. And we all were screaming, please take Nolan Smith. So, it is what it is. But I feel good. One of them will hit. Of the two, for sure 50%.
Yes, yeah. You're at least gonna get one, hopefully 2. But just to your point, the reaction from the rest of the league, we didn't get that for those guys like a Marcus Smith and like a Jalen Rager and like those other drafts. This one we did. Like the rest of the league is saying Howie Roseman is unbelievable. He's won it. He's done it again. This is ridiculous. Other GMs hate him, obviously, or sounding like there's something that they're upset he's getting all this attention for what he's doing in drafts. And so, you kind of play that on top of it. But like you mentioned there too, even the reactions from Cowboys fans, which I enjoyed. I think you did. Everyone, hearing Micah Parsons live as the Eagles are drafting not only Jalen Carter and they get Nolan Smith, because Micah loved both of those, but Nolan Smith is the guy that he tried to recruit to Penn State. So he saw the potential for a long time with Nolan Smith, and he's obviously pretty close to him because they were at the summit camp, like we mentioned together. But the fact that the league sees this, and Dov Kleiman, if you remember during the draft, he said, what was it? Cowboys drafted Nolan Smith. And you and I both were like, oh my gosh, I thought he was going to make it. And it's like, oh wait, it's the wrong Smith. It's supposed to be Mozzie Smith. And so whenever that happened, we're like, whoa, but there's deleted tweets, but you saw Cowboys fans freaking out going, we got him, we got Nolan Smith. So that tells you a lot of what you need to know about the scenario.
Okay, a lot of questions rolling in here. I see the super chat. We're going to get to that in a second here. Quickly, where was this question? This is very good. Oh, I missed it. Rolando says, who gets more carries this year, Swift or Penny? Swift for sure. I'll throw something out here. Rashad Penny's roster spot is not guaranteed. They gave him no money. Literally, penny was on the dollar. You could cut him today, and it'd be like getting rid of a couple pennies. No pun intended. And it was Nick Sirianni last Thursday who said, we like what Sermon is doing. We love what Sermon looks like. Sermon, which people on Twitter pointed out that, or at least on my comment section, the Niners did the same thing, try to trade him, get something for him. Okay, sure. But the Eagles wouldn't get anything better than a 7th-round draft pick for Trey Sermon right now as is. So I don't think it's a bluff to get a trade. I think they do like Trey Sermon. And if there is a running back who really could be cut, it's Penny, because I don't think they'd risk cutting Boston Scott because he's the only real veteran on this roster, and you would trust him to not fumble the football and need him for 2 games. You're going to get the Giants. Penny could, I don't think he will, but could be the odd man out if Sermon dominates in preseason.
That would be interesting. That's not something I've heard a whole lot, but it's a good point. It would be, it would be very surprising. Although I know that Nick Sirianni's talked up Sermon. Again, he's talked up a lot of players, so it's kind of like, does he legitimately mean it, or is it just everyone's great because he loves the entire team? So I don't know, but that's an interesting. I would hate to see it. I don't know. I think you probably would hate to see that too, just because of the potential with Penny. Granted, there's injury concerns and all of that, but if they went so far as sign him, we're not going to do that. We're going to stick with Sermon. Then Sermon's obviously showing out enough. And then we got to say, okay, expectations for him are pretty high, because we've talked about it on past shows. In the Jaguars game last year, I thought that's his coming out part. All of a sudden we're going to see Trey Sermon more, and then we didn't. So I don't know, maybe it's his time here. It would be more shocking though, I think, to see Penny not get or not make the team.
Right.
Because again, with his stats when he's healthy, and again, that's the biggest emphasis we can make because of all that. You could say DeAndre Smith or Swift has some injury concerns, but Rashad Penny, that guy, he can't stay healthy, but if he does, the 6 yards plus per carry, that's just too good behind this offensive line to see what he can do. So I'm excited about it. It would be shocking.
Get a super chat thrown up in here. Alex Santana says, decided I'll super chat every week and hopes to get selected for Eagles at Dallas game. That's the way to do it, honestly. You throw $5 a week, and we're how many weeks away from preseason? Couple of months. At most, you're going to do $50. And if you win the tickets, that's $600 worth of tickets. And then you go to Dallas game for free. So not a bad idea, Alex. As you see, Josh has it all written down there.
Got you down. And we'll be at that game.
Entries. We will. Yeah, we have decided we will be at that game. We don't have tickets yet, but we will be at that game. So you get to hang out with us at the game. And hopefully,
if you want to, or you could be as far away as possible.
You don't have to sit by us.
We could do the other side of the stadium.
That. You totally could sit, on the other side. But if you wanted to just get 4 tickets, we would. So it is what it is. Okay, let's go through some more comments here. There's a lot of them going on in terms of people talking about fantasy football. Brad says, I'm in on the fantasy. Yeah, we got to figure out how we would pick the 20 people to be in our fantasy football league, right? Because we couldn't just pick first come, first serve. I don't know if we do a pot or like an entry. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. It'd be very fun to do. It'd be very fun to do. And
We could do a
we'll
little
work out a way to
drawing.
do that.
I think we
Could
do
do
it
a
with a
drawing.
spinner.
Could
We just take names and then do the
we could do
spinner
that.
live, and
we could do
we
that.
do it on one of the shows. I think we should do that.
That could
That's
be
a great
fun.
idea.
Yeah, that could be fun. Always pick running backs first round. Yeah, I try to, but if you pick 8th in fantasy football, you got to go wide receiver and then take DeAndre Swift later on, right? That's kind of the secret there. Although I assume DeAndre Swift will go a lot higher than we would think from some other random person in my league who's like, oh yeah, the Eagles run the football well, and I'll take him in the 3rd round. It'll happen.
I mean, it's interesting to see
Always
what
he'll
do, but there is always that one guy. I love, because I'm in Dallas, I love, there's always a league with a couple Dallas guys in it, and I love the reach. It's like Dak Prescott, 1st round, 2nd round. It's like,
yes,
great. Congratulations. You can go ahead and you take all the Cowboys there. There's some decent picks, but it seems like they're always selected too high, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, it is what it is. Frankie says, I live in Kansas, grew up an Eagles fan, never been to any NFL game. That being said, I would love to go to Arrowhead, watch my Eagles take home the dub. Well, there's a way to do it. Any super chat gets you a chance for us to get tickets to you to go to Arrowhead. That'd not be a cheap one. We'd still get them Monday night. That'd be a fun one. I've considered going to that one too, because I have friends in Kansas I could stay with. That'd be a very fun one to go to if you're going to pick a road game as well. So
that would be a lot of fun.
Fly Park says, hit the like button on both channels. That is yes, you should. 100% you should. Josh says, Terrell Edmonds, finna surprise. I think he might. I think he's basically locked into one of the safety spots. I'd be shocked if he doesn't make it as one of your 2 starters, making it a 3-horse race for starter number 2. I think right now it's Blankenship, and then it'd be Sidney Brown, and then it would be Kayvon Wallace. That would be my guess in terms of the safety spot right now, but it makes sense. How about this one? KO says, Josh is a good guy, but I don't like his voice. Normally, it's always me they don't like the voice of. So finally,
I've got it.
Me.
There you go.
Thank you, KO.
Not everyone's going to appreciate it. So.
Everybody says my voice sucks. I get, the amount of times I get comparisons to, I get Howie Roseman, because people think I sound like, which I don't hear at all. I get Ben Shapiro a lot, which I do think I sound like a lot. But of course, those two are known for having annoying, squeaky voices. Therefore, they're making fun of me by comparing me to those people. So the fact it was you tonight is great news, because it's always me. But it's fun.
That's great. Awesome. Yeah. Well, I appreciate that, and I think someone else, Cheese Stick, said there, just use captions. So there's your solution. If I'm talking, just use the captions, I guess. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay. That'll work. Bloodshot said, I wouldn't mind seeing Lonnie Zacchaeus returning punts. He has some wheels. He's done a little bit of it in Atlanta during my Falcon post-game show days back on Atlanta Sports Radio here. Possibility. I didn't think about that. Possibility. We'll see. Let's see. Watch Covey. Oh, Covey will do it again. Yeah, probably so. Mm-hmm. Probably so. Cool Rain says Josh was screaming for Bijan. Yes, we both were. Josh was for sure. Would you take Bijan in the 1st round if you picked 6th overall in fantasy football?
Yeah, for sure.
You would. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For that offense, the way they're going to run the football.
Okay.
Yeah, I would take him.
Makes sense. All right, let's keep going here. Penny is so damn good when he's on the field, like top 5 running back good. Yeah, it's a limited sample size because he's not on the field that much. But, as Truancy says here, Sherman's always a smokescreen. We signed him. We loved him. Didn't use him. Had Jillian getting those tough yards. I don't think Penny's getting cut over Sermon. I don't either. I'm just saying if you were to put Sermon on the active roster, you got to pick one of the other 4 running backs to get rid of because you won't dress 5. Right? Who's the odd man out? It's either Boston Scott or Rashad Penny because they're not getting rid of Gainwell, and they obviously aren't getting rid of DeAndre Swift. So, by a virtue of elimination, it would have to be him. And the only way that would happen is if Sermon has an incredible training camp and Penny does not, which, again, I don't think will happen. But I'm trying to find a way to put him on the roster, not be a practice squad guy, which he most likely will be.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yep.
Brian says, hey, Josh, what's the shirt you're wearing? You always have these great shirts. This is Hungry Dog. Is it Run Faster?
There it is.
There it is. Yeah,
there it is.
That's good. Where'd you get that?
I got it off of, honestly, I just Googled it. It's like One Rock something, but if you Google Hungry Dogs Run Faster Eagles shirt, you'll see it. And, I did it actually after I saw Jason Kelsey at the draft wearing it. I was like, okay, I gotta get one of those. So yeah, it's a kind of odd site. I think it's One Rock. I'll see if I can find it exactly.
I got it here. It's one rockin'. Let me see if I can pull it up here.
Okay.
We should get a sponsorship for bringing this up. I mean, you got 164 orders right now.
Yeah, if everybody wants it.
Mine's not loading, so.
Although there's a couple people that let me know, or at least one for sure. I think Neil, who let me know in the comments that he hates the Kelly Green. So, I like the
Really?
Kelly Green. I think this is a little bit lighter than the true
Yeah, it
Kelly
is.
Green.
It
The
is.
lighting may make it look weird, but it appears to be a little bit brighter than that. But I'm a fan of the Kelly Greens.
Here it is on Underdog Philly, but it's sold out. $50. Did you spend $50 on that shirt?
No. This was 20. I got it.
Okay.
20.
All right. Well, there you
That's
go.
a little pricey. So
A little pricey.
Good luck
Yeah.
if you can get it from another site. But
let's see. Jason says Alex will have to grow a beard to hang out with you guys. Yeah, I guess that's true. You would have to because we both have been rocking them. P6 says down to join fantasy football with y'all. That would be fun. That would be very fun. We're gonna do something like that. I know that I'm probably gonna have a Viget fantasy sports betting football league for the NFL season, which everyone will be able to join. But a fantasy football season would be fun to have as well. Shout out to Joey Shakes. Is this the actual? Yeah, this is Joey Shakes.
Yeah, there we go.
The two best
What's
around.
Up, Joey?
Boom. Joey
Appreciate that.
Joey built that new PC. It looks sweet. You can't see. I have my custom built PC right over here. It's not in screen, but Joey's. I watched that video. That was good stuff. Everyone should build their own PC. Very fun. Very fun.
I don't know how to do that. Is it easier than
it's a lot easier than it looks?
Because
it's not hard.
I would love to do that, but to me,
easy.
It just sounds very difficult.
KZO says, "Why do no Eagle content creators live in Philly?" Great point. Do any of us live in Philly? Because do Mike and Brunson live in Philly? I don't think they do. Don't they live in Jersey?
I think they do. I mean, Brunson's from the mind
close.
of a man in North Philly or something like that. Is his Twitter?
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Probably is. Okay. Yeah, because 500's in California. You're in Texas. I'm in Atlanta.
Joey's in Jersey.
In Jersey.
I don't know how close.
I don't know where. I think I want to say Mike's in Jersey, but I don't know. I've asked before, but I don't remember where it is. But it's true. None of us live in Philadelphia. So what are you going to do? Sorry.
Delivering the news from behind enemy lines. That's right. What I'm doing.
Yeah, Josh is really behind enemy lines. Yeah, as Cheesesteak just said, lives in enemy territory. Ugh, sorry.
There you
Dallas
go.
It's nice though. I was in Dallas this past weekend. Josh and I had brunch together. I've lived in Dallas a bunch, or I've been to Dallas a bunch. Going to Waco, I love Dallas. You just hate the fact that you're surrounded by Cowboy fans. And I was wearing an Eagles shirt the day before I saw Josh walking around, knowing people were staring at me. But it happens.
You got to rep. You got to represent.
You got to rep,
no matter what.
Joey says linebacker is probably the biggest question mark in tandem with Nakobe Dean. Could the talent already be there? Did you see today that Isaiah Simmons, I did on my show, I guess yesterday, Isaiah Simmons is switching to defensive back.
I did see that. Yeah. I thought it was a joke at first. Like I started watching it, I'm thinking, okay, he's being funny. And then you didn't get anything coming back from that. And so it's like,
real.
Really? I mean, I guess Gannon sees something there, or he's moving it. Now, then all of a sudden you start hearing people go, oh, Budda Baker, he's available. Because, if you're going to move him into the safety spot and I don't know. I don't think that they're going to be giving us anything else or any other help, but that's very surprising because I figured linebacker. I mean, that's a guy that's been rumored to the Eagles, or the Eagles consider him or pursue Isaiah Simmons. But for him to move, like that's a pretty big move, right? I mean, you're going linebacker to start like coverage more of safety or corner, kind of kind of in that hybrid position. So that was shocking. But hey, it's Gannon. Does anything really shock us at this point? He took a look at the defense. He goes, pew, pew, pew. We're going to change some things up. So I don't know.
Shakes just said, or obviously Shakes was talking about, if the talent's already on the roster. If it's not, like if they don't like Morrow and if Dean struggles and they need to bring in, or Christian Ellis is not the wonder kid we all think he is based off of OTAs, which is, a whole different thing. Your options to trade for a linebacker run thin because obviously if Simmons is a DB now, you don't trade for him because you don't convert him back unless he wants to convert back, which would be weird. You have Patrick Queen and I guess Devin White, but White reported yesterday but he also wants $20 million a year, so you wouldn't make that trade. That's ridiculous. So Queen is your only option if the Eagles' talent at linebacker is not already there, unless there's some other name that pops up during training camp. But in terms of like the holdout or tradable guys, it's Patrick Queen and now really nobody else because, again, Devin White wants $20 million a year, and I also would like $20 million a year, and neither of us are going to get it anytime soon. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, they're definitely not traded. I know you did a show about that, but yeah, as soon as I saw that amount, I was like, okay, well, we can cross that off the list. It was a possibility, but then that's a for sure. That's not happening.
Xavier says, so will you guys be doing a show every day so we can buy a super chat for a chance to win every day, or how often can we enter? So he's asking about the ticket giveaway. It's every we do the live show every Wednesday. Any live show that we do, you have a chance to put a super chat in, right? So we do one a week right now. Once training camp starts, might be more preseason games, live stream those together. So any live stream we do, you have the chance to do a super chat. So basically, if you want to enter, drop super chats during the live show. That's how we do it.
Yep. And the entries are by dollar amount. So just to make sure it's not like, every single show. So hey, you do $100 entry, it's 100 or $100, it's 100 entries, $20, 20 entries. Yeah. So feel free.
Cheesesteak, any updates on name choices for your little one, Josh? That's right. Josh is his wife Sandy is pregnant with baby number 2.
Yes.
I don't think you can reveal that yet.
No, I can't. And I appreciate the question. And it's my fault here, but I got like a little bit on, thin ice for actually publicly announcing that without the full. Yeah, a little bit with
everybody, right?
Yeah, with everybody. So I do appreciate all the congratulations and reaching out and everything, but I got to make sure because there's family members that don't know right now and that would be very surprised and maybe a little bit upset if it's like, wait a minute, you've got people on YouTube that know the answer. So, but to answer that question, we don't know yet. We're still going through the list. We've got the baby names app, which I have several names, and Sandy has not swiped, I don't think, on a single one. So we're waiting to see if she can pick a name. That's but helpful. I mean, you know how it is. You start going through and you don't realize how many people you like kind of don't care for with that name. I mean, like, to be honest, you go through and you're like, oh no, I don't like that name. Nope. And you start going through the Rolodex of your head of these people that you know or that remind you of that name. So I get it. It's a little difficult, but I don't think that she's got one she likes so far.
You swiped right on Thomas, right? That one came across and you said,
I mean, that's a top choice. Right. Yeah. Boy or girl. Sense. It doesn't matter. That's a top one.
Matthew says, I think they both have great content and cadences. Would you rather have computer generated? There is that one computer generated Eagles channel. Maybe have you watched that one?
Yeah.
Like a robot reads you the Eagles news. Oh, that's painful. It's painful. It's not a bad idea, but it's like, oh my gosh, it is fun. It is fun to listen to.
It is awful.
Okay, let's go through here. Josh supercomputer is running Eagle content 24/7. It is. Joey's supercomputer. Joey's is rendering Eagles content 24/7. Yes, it definitely is. Can't wait to get a Kelly Green Jalen Hurts jersey. Quickly on the Kelly Greens, everyone talked about the fact that there was like the leak, right? And then everyone I read in the comments said that it was fake and they looked fake. They didn't look fake to me. They looked like the jerseys that you would get, right? But then again, we figured they'd drop them this past weekend because the leak happened and it was kind of the same time frame. They've dropped other, jerseys. No drop on the jerseys. I have no idea what's going on with these jerseys. No idea.
It's the weirdest thing. If it was just one tweet, or like one person, then it'd be like, okay, yeah, that's probably fake. But there seemed to be multiple people from different locations that were buying these at a physical store. So I don't know. And as they're showing the video and kind of the close-ups, I mean, from what all you could tell, again, it's not the best picture. You can't actually see it, in real life or in person, but it seemed more real to me than not. But I don't know. It would be strange, like you say, if all of a sudden it's this one random store. Like, what? I don't know how that works. Like, do they just get a shipment and say, hey, hold off until we announce it? And they say, nah, forget it. We're putting them out there to sell. Like that was the weirdest thing.
I bet you can get a China knockoff one right now, though, and it could have just been that. You could have gotten, shipped it all the way and waited 3 months and gotten it. So, Cheesesteak says they're going to sell so many Hurts Kelly Green jerseys, it'll cover the cost of his new contract. I would love to know, day one, when the official jersey drops, how many Kelly Green Hurts jerseys they will sell. What's the number? It's got to be
insanity.
Unbelievable how many they will sell. Yeah,
it will be ridiculous. He will lead the league in jersey sales. Has to, because of everyone's got to get the Kelly Green. And I'm kind of speculating through that too. Do I get Jalen Hurts with the Kelly Green? Do I get a different one?
I don't know.
I don't know. I got the AJ Brown. I got the Nolan Smith that's hopefully coming one of these days. And then it's like, all right, so who do you go with for the Kelly Green? I don't know. That's hard.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. The safe pick is Jalen Hurts, but obviously a lot of other great players on the roster. So I thought the same thing. I'm going to get a green one, but I just don't know if you go Hurts, you go someone else. TBD. Shabaka says, do you think it may take the Eagles time to gel? There's a Terrell Edmonds quote I saw yesterday where he basically said that everyone in the locker room only talks about winning the Super Bowl, right? There are some teams that talk about having a winning season, and a winning season is like the main focus. You think about all the teams out there. The Bears' goal this year is to have a winning season. The Falcons' goal this year is to have a winning season. There are plenty of teams that want just a winning season, win 9 games, everybody's happy, fight for a playoff spot in the end, move on. Edmonds basically said that no one's talking like that. Everyone's talking about winning Super Bowls right now, winning rings right now, that losing last year is like the biggest hurt you possibly could have because you're this close and you don't get it. And now they all want to come back and do it. And it feels like they're gelling that way. It feels like it's all business. And this does, and it has always since 2017 felt like an organization that picks people that gel well together. Has there been a drama queen on this roster since besides Carson Wentz, sure, but has there been a drama queen on this roster since 2017 not named Carson Wentz? You can't really name one. Maybe Rager a little bit. I don't know if he was a drama queen, right? I don't think people didn't like him, but I think they gel well. All teams take time to bond. That's why preseason is important, at least for, backup guys. That's why the first month of the season is a little rusty sometimes, but I don't think you have any worry. The core is still there, and the core is pretty strong overall, despite the fact they did lose a couple of those core pieces.
Yeah, the core is absolutely very strong. And you mentioned the Bears. It's kind of funny. I don't know if people saw this or not, but there was this, I can't even recall who it was. There was a Bears, either a content creator or someone who's just looking through YouTube. But basically they said, hey, Justin Fields has more views on his highlights than Jalen Hurts. So he's going to be the next Jalen Hurts, or he's better than Jalen Hurts. And okay, of course you want your quarterback to be Jalen Hurts. Sure. And not saying that he can't take that jump, because we did see Jalen take a very massive jump, but it's just very easy to take a look at Jalen and go, oh yeah, our quarterback can be that and will be that. Yeah. And I don't know, but yes, there's lots of teams that want to be the Eagles, want to be in that position, and culture is a huge part of it. And it takes a little bit of time, but I think there's, to your point, the core is already there, and to get that close to taste victory, to have it just slip right through your fingertips at the last moment in the Super Bowl. I think that to be able to rise from that occasion, and Jalen's one of those guys where he's experienced this heartbreak in multiple ways. So everyone rallying around behind him and kind of just like following in line and saying, yep, this is what we're doing. I love it. The mission is, yes, Super Bowl or bust. It's not, oh, let's maybe win the division. Let's maybe have a winning season. To your point, it's Super Bowl or that's it. There's no success without that.
KO says Slay is a drama queen? Question mark. Yeah, I don't think Slay's a who. Oh, Michael said think Slay can be sometimes. No, Slay's not a drama queen at all. Slay, like KO said, he's a captain. He's voted, and the captains are voted by the teammates. Bears schedule, real quick, for those comparisons to Jalen Hurts, as Alfonso just said, he's 1 of 1. I agree.
There you go.
It's a winnable schedule, though, right? You get Jordan Love's first official start this season. You're at Tampa Bay, who we all kind of think stinks. You start the season 2-1. What is Denver this year? No clue. I think they'll be better. Are they going to be really good? I don't think so. So that could be 3-1, 2-2. But where are the tough games here? At Washington, Minnesota, Vegas. Those are 3 winnable games. Maybe the Chargers on the road, but that's never really a road game. New Orleans with Derek Carr. Are they good? Are they great? That's a great question. Carolina, Detroit, Minnesota, Detroit. Then you finish Cleveland, Arizona, Atlanta, Green Bay. It feels like this is going to be a 9-win team. And if they don't get to that point, it's going to be very disappointing, because if the Eagles had this schedule, and obviously the Eagles have a first place schedule, so it's very different. This would be like a 1-loss schedule. I mean, there's nobody tough on this schedule where you actually sit back and go, besides Kansas City, we have 0% chance to win this game. The Bears should be pretty good this year. I think pretty good. They'll lose in the first round of the playoffs, right? They'll go to Philly. They'll go to one of the other better teams in the NFC, San Francisco. They'll lose in the first round, but they will be better this year, and I think that'd be fun. I mean, sure, that'll be fun.
Yeah. I think they'll be better. I feel like they'll barely miss playoffs. I think Detroit will surpass them. I think Detroit to me is the favorite in that. I know the Vikings. They had a good year, however you want to define that. A good year, but the point differential, like we mentioned in the last show, so. I don't know. To me, Detroit's at the top there. I do think that the Bears will get better, yes, but to your point as well, the schedule, there seems to be a lot of like 50-50 games. They could win them, but it does. It comes back to what's the progression with Justin Fields, and the question that we ask. It seems like with a lot of Ohio State quarterbacks, not all of them, but a lot of them is. Do they translate to the NFL, and will he take that next step? I don't know. I'm not really sure, but he's not Jalen Hurts. Let's not go there. That's way too far of a stretch. Let's see some improvement first before we start any of those comparisons.
They at least have a roster around him with DJ Moore and Chase Claypool and Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet. The offensive line will take a little bit of a couple years to get solidified. Defensively, they have some players. TJ Edwards obviously in there. Tremaine Edmonds. They have a roster that can win some of these 50-50 games, but in terms of being like really good. Let's pump the brakes a little bit here. Let's see. Detroit is only a scary team on their roster. KO says AJ Brown low-key gets mad. You could see it in his body language at times. I'd agree, but he does keep it in, right? He's not going to go to the locker room and start ripping people on camera. He wants more targets. And to me, that is always a thing with receivers. You got to feed these guys. Hence why the idea of DeAndre Hopkins or, we'll talk about Stephon Diggs, getting Stephon Diggs would just never work because you got to feed so many mouths and it wouldn't make sense. But sure, he's a receiver. He wants to do a ball out and he knows he's open, right? He knows he's good.
right.
There's the mic'd up from the Super Bowl. He tells Jalen Hurts, throw me a deep ball. And like the next play was the deep ball touchdown. He's like, give me the ball. I'll make a play. He does. So,
he does. And there's a fine line with that, right? Like
there is.
You want a little bit of it from your receiver,
sure.
from your star receiver, from your playmaker. You want a little bit of that, but you just want them to make sure they can contain it, keep it under wraps, don't go to the media. I think I saw someone else or maybe multiple mentioning C.J. Gardner-Johnson was a drama. Alex Santana there, like, yes, but not really. At least during the season, not too much.
After, right?
After,
yeah.
So totally give it to him after. That was childish in many ways of how he handled it, but during the season with this team, I think that's where you see it's like there's a special bond. There's that core unit that kind of holds everyone in line and saying, yeah, we don't really do that. We don't talk about everyone has each other's back. Now, obviously, once he felt slighted and betrayed and all that, it changed. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say it was during the season.
Multiple people saying we need a win-loss projection from both of us. Did you do a win-loss projection? I think I did. I don't remember.
I did 17-0.
Okay, great. Yeah,
no.
that sounds.
I did a joke, and people got obviously mad because they got halfway through it and said, "We're not winning 10 of our first games." And I was like, "Okay." At the very end of that, as I was just making fun or having fun, I actually did the legit prediction there. So I think that we'll be kind of in that 11-win category. I know that's a step back from obviously our record last season, but I think it's a difficult schedule, as we know. You take a look at the schedule. There's some games that I think that we could lose. There's also some games where it's like the 7-game stretch or whatnot late. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to win consecutively and to string together that long of a win streak. So if you slip up on some games or you got a team who's preparing and amped up for say we come off of a big win, let's say in KC, I mean, that would be huge. But then you got to come back home and play a team in Buffalo who could be very difficult. And you got the Niners and the Cowboys like you got pulled up there. So and there's not easy games too with, I think we mentioned it in other live shows, but at Seattle, that's difficult. When was the last time we won? Was it 2010, 2008? It's been forever since we've won in Seattle. So, and the Rams are not just going to be an easy cakewalk, especially playing in LA. So, there's games where we could slip up. I think that we're going to be fine. I think that we will win the NFC East. I think that we will be in a good position. But to me, I'm looking at it 11 wins. I hope maybe 12, but that's kind of right where I'm at.
Yeah, the ceiling's 13, the floor's 10. It's somewhere in there, depending on what happens. 12 would be fantastic. But as you mentioned, and Josh and I are as optimistic as they come, it's not easy. I mean, this is not an easy schedule. And we've said this many, many times, right? You start 4-0, sure. This stretch right here of 5 games from October 8th to November 5th, tricky, right? Because what is LA? No idea. The only reports we've heard out of LA so far is that Stetson Bennett looks great, although he won't start. But if Matthew Stafford looked great, I don't know. New York, what are the Jets, right? They just lost one of their starting safeties to a torn ACL. Brutal. You hate to see that early. I mean, have they figured things out by week 6? Are they still, growing pains by week 6? I don't know. Dolphins is going to be a blast, but that's a great test for our defense. Washington, maybe you get a break, quote unquote, there, but we don't really blow out the Washington Commanders. We did one game this past year and then lost to them, right? They always play us hard. And then, of course, the massive game against Dallas on November 5th. That's just a tough stretch in of itself. And as you've said, this here from 11 to 15 is the hardest stretch in the National Football League, but for any team. There's not a harder stretch than at Kansas City, short week Buffalo, then you take on San Francisco, at Dallas on primetime, at Seattle. That is, think of the travel. Think of the travel, right?
Yeah.
Kansas City, then Buffalo, San Francisco, at Dallas, at Seattle. Oh my gosh, it's tough. And so people who want to win 15 games, I mean, geez, this would be one of the greatest rosters of all time if you're winning 15 games with this schedule. And Josh and I both think this is a Super Bowl caliber roster. So just to show you, it's tough. But we will do a win-loss prediction together soon, sometime. Maybe not tonight, but sometime for sure.
Yeah, once we have the official roster, getting better, closer to
Brian says Josh and Thomas need a 2-hour show. Josh and Thomas work full-time jobs during the day, so 2-hour show at night. Josh has a kid. I don't have a kid.
It's tough with bedtimes and helping out.
Yeah, 2 hours is tough. We're almost up to an hour. We try to give you guys at least an hour, maybe more as the season gets closer.
Yeah, sometimes we go an hour and a half sometimes, and definitely during the season. I mean, we have the 4-hour streams of the game, so there's a lot of commitment there.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Hurts is better than McNabb. I see people. Someone said earlier that Hurts and AJ Brown are what T.O. and McNabb should have been. I totally agree. I totally agree. It's true. It's just T.O. was he did T.O. things. I love to have T.O. on the show now. He seems to be kind of likes Philadelphia now. He thinks that Devontae Smith's a celebrity softball game. Raised about Devontae Smith. Seemingly that's kind of broken. I like, what was it, Chad Ochocinco saying he wished he would have played in Philadelphia? That was
he did.
too.
Yep. He was all for it. He said something about it's funny too. His reasoning, he was saying, like the fans are passionate. They beat up Santa. There's a couple other things. I can't remember what he said, but I was like, those are the first couple of things that he thinks of for why he'd want to play for the city.
Beat up Santa.
Great. Beat up Santa. So go play for the passionate fan base.
Chad Ochocinco is like obsessed with killer whales. Have you seen this?
I think I heard about that or something. What's the full story on that?
I think he just posts a bunch of stuff on his social media about killer whales. I'm trying to pull it up right here. Oh yeah, he has a killer whale tattoo, I think, right? Let me see.
Does he really?
Yeah. Okay, wait. He just turned it over. Hang on. In love with orcas, considered a mental health issue now, is why I have a full it's his leg sleeve of killer whales. Hang on, as he spins it around. See, there's one right there. Okay, yeah, I think he's obsessed with killer whales. Which I don't mean, killer whales are cool. Have you seen this thing off the coast of Portugal where they are attacking boats? Have you seen that? The killer whales?
No.
So apparently a boat hit a killer whale, and now that entire killer whale pod is attacking boats out of like revenge. And I guess Chad Ochocinco talked about it on some podcast. I guess here's another video on YouTube. Oh, he's on the I Am Athlete one talking about killer whales. So there you go. Fun fact of the day. Big killer whale fan, Chad Ochocinco.
That's interesting. I don't know a whole lot about those other than don't mess with them. They're more dangerous. Like every time there's Shark Week, and not to get us, which we've already gone off the deep end, pun not intended, but the fact that there's Shark Week and they talk about everything. The killer whales, like those are some ones. Like every time you go to SeaWorld and they're like, oh hey, it's like, really should we all be this close to the killer whale? I know there's been some like scary stories with all that, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Is there's a reasoning why he's all about the killer whales?
I don't know.
I'm not a fan. I don't really love the whole ocean. Like I'll go to the beach. I don't really like going into the water.
Before we get to this quickly, and then we will move on. Do you see that video, that guy getting attacked by the tiger shark in Egypt and eaten alive on camera last week? Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That was wild. Anyway, move on. Here's I guess
this is a good segue.
Yeah, that was wild though. Wild. It was awful. It was like, I thought it was fake, and I realized it wasn't. It was terrible. Anyway, in some good news, Philly Pop says, good evening to one of my favorite podcast duos. Last time I checked, Philly Fresh and Tone DeShields live in Philly, and so do I. Go Birds. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I've heard of Philly Fresh or Tone DeShields. I don't know if you have, Josh, but there are a lot of great content creators out there.
I had heard of Philly Fresh. I forgot about that. I don't know about Tone DeShields. I don't know if I've heard of that or seen that one.
Have you seen Eagle Owl? I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I started watching some Eagle Owl recently. Eagle Owl, it's fun. It's fine. One of his random videos popped up on me. It's like, what's up? I'm Eagle Owl. I love the name.
I know it. Yeah. And I think didn't he have, and someone can definitely, I'm sure, confirm this in the comments, but didn't he have a previous show? It was like Al Kabir, the analyst or something. Because I think he had like a lot of subscribers, if I'm not.
Really?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. I think he did. And then I don't know if this is like a second channel, but yeah, I started seeing that too. So he has got some other good content. He had Moro Ojomo do like his intro. Did you see that?
No.
He said Moro Ojomo said something like, hey, Eagle Owl, biggest Eagles fan or best Eagles content.
Wow.
So I don't know what the connection is there, but I was like, hey, that's pretty sweet. He's got Moro Ojomo doing a little promo.
Pop here gets 20 entries into our ticket giveaway. We got that marked down. Appreciate the super chat. Shout out to all these creators, Philly Fresh, Tone DeShields. We'll throw an Eagle out as well. Make sure that you got it written down. We got 20 there. Quickly, speaking of Moro Ojomo, talk about someone that got literally this much talk during OTAs. Did you see a Moro Ojomo highlight or tweet or article written about the guy at Alder? God, I forgot he existed until you just brought him back up. Gone.
Yeah. I was thinking about him. The only thing that I can really remember is there's a clip of Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith that are kind of hitting the blocking sled, and it looked like it was going to be Jalen Carter and Moro Ojomo, and Nolan kind of jumps up there and pushes Moro out of the way. That's the only thing that I can remember seeing of him, sadly. But yeah, to your point, it's just overshadowed, I guess, from all the names. I was expecting we might hear something, but it seems like he's got a pretty big uphill climb, at least if he's going to try to make the roster. And, he's young, so, he's got a lot of time and potential there, but I don't know. It looks like it may not be likely, but it was strange, right? Because we heard all this stuff during the draft, and you're going to hype up all the picks, but there was a ton, biggest steal of the draft and everything else. And I'm not saying he can't make the roster. I think it'd be great. He's got a great story. He seems to have a very high motor, very educated, and he's got a very strong work ethic. But the fact that there's just nothing from writers and to your point, have hardly heard anything about him. I don't know. It's a little bit of a telltale sign, because usually, as we've seen, I mean, you could say anything good about people at OTAs. Like there's hardly anyone saying, "Oh, they look terrible at OTAs." Everyone looks great. Everyone looks fantastic. And so I don't know. We haven't heard anything. That's strange.
We didn't hear anything about him. And there wasn't a lot from Keely Ringo, right? As you go through the draft picks, Carter Smith, Steen, we heard a bunch about. Brown, we heard a bunch about. Ringo, we didn't see a lot. There wasn't a lot of Tanner McKee stuff. I mean, I guess it's OTAs, so whatever. And then there was zero Moro Ojomo, literally zero. So APB out for whatever happened to him. Hopefully he'll be fine. Hopefully he'll still make the roster. Not to say that he, of course, is gonna not make the roster, but the fact that we got zero love during OTAs was a little surprising. A little bit odd. It happens. What are we seeing here? A couple of love Tone. Tone works behind the scenes at Jacob Sports. I did not know that. Tone, we're talking about Tone DeShields behind the scenes at Jacob Sports. Okay. Does he have a show on Jacob Sports or works behind the scenes on Jacob Sports? I don't know.
I don't know, to be honest.
I don't know.
Sure.
Don't know. Eagle Outs needs some better production. Okay. Production is tough to do. Ask me and Josh, because it takes us forever to do our production. So I don't hate on the smaller channels for the lack of production, because it is not easy. And Josh and I at least have a little bit of training from college in terms of editing, which is a whole different animal. But what are you going to do? Someone mentioned Marcus Mariota. Jess says crazy Mariota had more rushing yards last year. Quickly, you saw the trailer for the Netflix show, right? Which is going to be great, right? The quarterback show. I talked about it on my show today.
Was it the same? I saw it, but I didn't get to look very closely. Is it the same group that does like the full swing and the Formula One? Okay, it's the same. Okay,
full swing.
Then it's it was already gonna be great, but yeah, if it's that group, it's gonna be incredible. I can't wait to see it.
Unbelievable. Although it's funny because it's gonna be Mahomes wins the Super Bowl. Obviously, Kirk Cousins collapses, but still wins 13 games. And then Marcus Mariota, who was rough. He was really rough. Let me say this: there's a 0% chance. There's a 1% chance. When they did Hard Knocks, they do a bunch of different content creators. Like on Hard Knocks, they'll put radio people on there. When they did the Falcons schedule release, when I was still on the air for the Atlanta Falcons radio network, my voice was in the schedule release. Technically, I was still working at that station when they should have done some Mariota stuff. There is a 1% chance you could hear my voice on Netflix. There is a 1% chance.
Okay.
Because it was in the schedule release for the Falcons 2 seasons ago. There was like a 4-second clip of me saying something on the radio. So you never know, but I'm going to watch very carefully when they do the Atlanta shots, because that's where I live and I was on that radio station. But what are you going to do?
I'm looking forward to it. That would be pretty sweet.
It was more towards the end of my time there.
If it is, I mean, come on, you should get some royalty fees or something, right? Like, I mean, they're using your likeness, so I don't know.
If the Eagles ever got Hard Knocks, I think that a lot of content creators would get little clips in and out, because I've seen other content creators get stuff during other, not just radio people locally. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be very fun. So I'd be all for the Eagles doing that. Paso has no comment, but he still gets 2 entries into the jersey giveaway. So you don't have to say anything, but you got 2
ticket giveaway. I know we did the jersey.
Sorry, ticket. It is ticket. Read the screen. Don't listen to my voice. That's what it is. Paso, if you comment, I'll throw it up there if you have something to say, because some people forget that they can put a comment in there as well. Great show, guys. I'm out. Gotta go get food. Truancy, have fun. Get a cheesesteak for us.
I would love a cheesesteak, an authentic cheesesteak. That's what we're doing. The next time for the Philly game, we're going to go to one in Philly. We got to get a cheesesteak, and I'm going to probably start an argument here. But in the comments, what's the best cheesesteak place for those that are in Philly? What's the best one?
I was told John's of South Philly is the one that I went to when I was there, I believe. I've been to Geno's, I've been to Pat's, I've been to John's. Because it's the John's roasted pork, pulled pork, whatever it is. It's way down south. I mean, I was like, this is way, way, way down here, kind of by the by the water. But that was the last one I got. It was very good. Very good.
Need to try that. Need to try it. I'm a big fan.
Bloodshot says breakout player. We've talked about breakout players. Breakout player this year. There's a lot of options. Does Reed Blankenship become like a real solid starter in this league? I think he might.
Maybe.
I think he might.
The
But there are
ghost?
options. Nakobe Dean, Reed Blankenship, Quez Watkins, Tyler Steen. Pick another one. Let's see. DeAndre Swift. Like
Cam Jurgens?
Cam Jurgens. There's a bajillion.
There's a
A
lot. There's a
bajillion.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could go with a ton, obviously. And I think we've, the reports are, and if you're covering any of the media or the news, just about every other day, you can say, oh, this is the top breakout candidate. Oh, it's this guy. It's a different one. It just changes. So yes, there's lots of names like you mentioned, but I don't know. Out of all the names there, I feel like I'd have to go with Nakobe Dean.
Okay.
I think that there's so much, there is pressure, but I think that he can handle it. But I just think that there's so much riding on this season for him being the play caller. It's not only like he's got to have the production, but he's the guy with the green dot. Like he's the leader of the defense.
Yeah.
And so I think that a lot, not all of it, but a lot of the defensive success is going to ride on Nakobe Dean's shoulders. And so I think if I'm saying who the top breakout candidate or who the breakout is going to be, I think it's Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, Nakobe Dean. In fact, they put the green dot, as you said, is a big deal. Christian Ellis was a hot topic last week. I haven't talked about him a lot this week. I got to just see it to believe it, I think, when it comes to Christian Ellis. I got to really see multiple weeks of, him playing linebacker on training camp 11 on 11s, him playing on, in preseason games. He's a breakout candidate, but it would be quite the breakout. Quite the breakout.
Yep.
I saw the comment. Here's Passo's comment. Fantastic work. You both are at the top of the YouTube game. We as Eagle fans are fortunate to have this kind of content and high quality production. Sounds like a burner account for you and me right there. We're just puffing ourselves up. We do appreciate that, though.
We're trying to paid the $2 super chat to
We're trying to be. Honestly, we're trying to have great content. We're trying to have watchable content, and content that is equal. Listen, there are great content creators that don't do sports on YouTube. Josh and I draw a lot of inspiration from a lot of them, and you can see the numbers. You could see the retention. The people love it. We're trying to be not just good Eagle content creators, but good YouTubers as well. That's definitely one of our goals we talked about a lot.
For sure. Yes.
Let's see.
Business meeting this past weekend. I felt bad for your girlfriend and my wife because it's get to meet and know a little bit, and then it was always going to become Eagles chat and talk. But afterwards, I told my wife, I was like, gosh, that really escalated quickly. I was like, we all of a sudden, I hope that your girlfriend was okay with it because I was like, that got very heavily focused on Eagles content to no one's surprise, probably.
Right. And for those of you just joining us, Josh and I I was in Dallas. So Josh and I and his wife, Sandy, and my girlfriend, Paige, we all hung out for brunch, which was fantastic. But yeah, talking, because I'd never met Sandy. He's never met Paige. Josh and I, of course, went to college together. But it did kind of turn into grow our channels, best channels we can make, Eagles. But it's like, what else do you want to talk about? Come on, this is what we love to do. I text about it all the time. My girlfriend constantly looks and like, is Josh texting you again? It's like, yes, Josh and I are texting again, honey. Yep. Yes, it happens a lot.
Sandy says the same thing. Sometimes it's just like, what's Thomas saying? It's not even ask who it is. So it's just like,
they know.
Okay, sorry, hold on.
They know. Yep. What is the single game ticket giveaway? We haven't picked the day. It'll be sometime. It might be the third or second preseason game. We'll be live for the preseason games. That's kind of the time frame on when we're going to give away the tickets. Because obviously, if you wanted to go to week one, then we would have time. So there are, that's the time frame. I would think second or third preseason game would be the paid time we actually spin the dial and pick, and then you let us know instantly which one you want to go to. Buy them, give them to you. Rest is history. So
yes. And the good news with the tickets, at least to your point of trying to get them in time for somebody, is unlike the jerseys, we don't have a really pre-order. It's just quickly electronically send you the ticket. So that'll at least save some time there.
It'll make sense. All right, let's keep going here for just a little bit, a couple more minutes, and we'll get some more questions here. Give us your thoughts. Hurts and the Eagles' production improved a lot with Shane Steichen calling the plays. How concerned are you with the new play caller on offense? I'm not concerned with Brian Johnson. I think he's going to be just fine. But sure, I think Shane Steichen was an elite play caller, and we see it with offensive coordinators. There are elite play callers and there are average play callers, and there's a big gap between the two, right? Just ask the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
They had a first-year offensive coordinator last year versus what they had in Brian Dable. I mean, you got to the point where they're at right now this week where Stephon Diggs looked at the playbook on Monday and said, this blank ain't changed. Get me out of here. And it makes you kind of wonder, okay, had they had Brian Dable there and longer, would he be saying the same thing? I would say no. So play calling does matter big time. And I think that it's definitely going to be curious to see what happens.
Talk about the drama in Buffalo. Like
Goodness
I know that
gracious.
whenever we were at first, it's is something wrong with stuff like his Diggs's what health concerns, right? Because I mean, it was
I thought he
very
like,
concerned
yeah,
was
was
the
in the
comment.
hospital.
It's like,
Yeah.
where is he? We can't seem to understand or find where he is. Is he okay? And then no, he's good. He's going to show up, and then all of a sudden they're going to cancel their last day of practice here. So I don't know. It's crazy. But yes, to your point, it's a benefit to have a play caller, but someone who's been in the system like Brian Johnson,
Yeah.
it's not a brand new, right? Like he's taking it over, but Nick Sirianni has been heavily involved and will continue to be heavily involved. So there's some different nuances that we're going to see, but I'm really not concerned. I mean, the fact that Brian Johnson has that extra special connection with Hurts too, and that they can go way back into their relationship and their history, I think that there's going to be, again, some subtle differences, but the weapons that you have on this offense, the help and assistance too of Nick Sirianni game planning, getting everything ready, I'm really not too concerned with Brian Johnson.
I would agree. First year versus not being in the, being in the system a couple years is a very difference. Is a big difference. It makes a lot of sense. Donatello Dragon drops 2 here, 2 entries into the ticket
What's
giveaway.
up?
Donatello, I missed you the last few weeks. Hope all is well. All is great. We were here last week, weren't there the week before, but we're back with the foreseeable future. Josh and I have no vacation plans. At least I don't for 2 months. So we have lots of live shows
We're
happening
here.
over the next couple of months. So 2 entries for Donatello Dragon, a ticket giveaway.
Got
We
you down.
appreciate you on that one. Okay. Rumor has it people are slipping on the Arizona field right now. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Patriots trying to price us out, keep us from going to New England and taking over their John. Yeah, those Patriot tickets are expensive. Hopefully, people will pick Eagle home game tickets. You don't need to go to Brady's, welcome back ticket game. It's stupid. I don't think you have.
But we're, in full transparency and the integrity that we have. If you win and you just really want to go, you will get those tickets. If you win the drawing, it's just that it will be a lot more expensive, like twice as expensive.
Yeah, go to an Eagles home game if you win these darn things. My goodness.
Right, that's more fun.
Let's see. Tracy Ann says, do you guys think that Matt Patricia is going to be a problem? No, although it was funny that Darius Slay's answer when asked about Patricia was that they're cordial. I mean, he could have lied and said things are fine, but cordial, I mean, if Josh and I were cordial, that basically means we hate each other, right? We're just not going to talk about it on
said, hey,
the air.
how was y'all's, brunch the past weekend?
It was cordial.
It was cordial.
If we didn't hit each other. Yeah, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good at all.
It's okay, I guess.
It's fine. Whatever. The Matt Patricia hiring was much to do about nothing because he's not going to ruin the team. He can only help the team. And unless they're getting into fistfights on the sideline, then there's no problem here. It's just funny. It's just funny.
It is, yeah. It's hilarious, and there's gonna be people. What's the funniest part about it is there's gonna be people that are gonna blow it out of proportion, right? Like, yes, he could have said something a little bit different, but I don't know the full story, but from both sides and what you hear, okay, yeah, Patricia said some things that, I mean, I would have taken offense to. I would have been upset about if he's calling me out the way that he did with Slay. So it's kind of hard to look past that, but again, like what we talked about, I mean, Slay is a captain, and this core unit, they know the eyes are on the prize. It's the Super Bowl. So let's put all of our differences to the side. And I do think Slay's doing that. That doesn't mean that they have to be best buddies and hanging out all the time. Right. Like, it's, hey, you know what? You do your thing. I'm doing mine. Let's not talk too much, but we're okay. And I think it'll be all right. I don't think it's going to be a big deal.
And Matt Patricia's not dumb enough to, Slay gets burnt by Juju Smith-Schuster week 1. Slay comes back to the sideline and Patricia chews him out on camera. He's not going to do that, right? If they were to butt heads, it'd be inside the NovaCare complex and no one would talk about it, right? So it's going to be much to do about nothing. Much to do about nothing.
Completely.
Speaking of the ticket giveaway, Andrea Bland has jumped in with a $10 entry. What's up, guys? Shakes. Had to get my entry in. There you go. Andrea did get one of our jerseys, one of our jerseys from our 3 jersey giveaway during the draft. She got our Jalen Carter jersey, which is still on pre-order, Fanatics. But she's gonna, a $10 entry could get you $600 worth of tickets, whatever the price is gonna be. So, Andrea, we appreciate you, and welcome to the ticket giveaway.
70 entries so far. I think she's
pretty good.
Up there. She's definitely up there. Yep.
It's not bad in terms of the odds. Josh and I have talked about this. Like, if this was a channel I followed, I would 100% trying to win some tickets, because back in the day I could not afford tickets at all. Even if I could afford them, it's like, geez, I got $600 for tickets. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. Giving these away is gonna be very, very fun. Okay, let's see any more questions here before we get to a couple more, before we go ahead and wrap things up, because it is getting a little bit late here. The war of patrician begins. That's funny. Trish will be in the booth in the sky game day. No worries. Good point. He'll be in the booth. Yeah. You won't even know he's there. Whatever.
And he's not going to call down and say, "Hey, put Slay on the phone. Let me chew."
Can you imagine?
Chew him out. Yeah,
hey Slay, there. It's Patricia. He wants to talk to you. What? Yeah, that'd be fun. That'd be very fun.
Oh my gosh, you talk about drama. Good gosh, it would be wheels off completely. The season has gone terribly wrong if we were at the point where Patricia's calling down, saying, "Let me talk to Slay."
We are talking about one of the epic collapses ever in terms of what is happening with the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, quickly here, I do want to mention both Josh and myself have both been really grinding out some shorts recently. If you haven't seen our shorts on our channel, be sure to check them out. Josh has had some really, really great ones overall. They're absolutely fantastic, as he's had some big ones too. The Sanders one was 26,000 views. Jordan Davis 34. Yeah. We're trying to up our shorts game, YouTube shorts. I watch a lot of YouTube shorts, so I was like, why shouldn't I be making YouTube shorts? So subscribe to both channels and check out the shorts as well. They are a bunch of fun to go ahead and do.
You had a good one on the Chip Kelly and him just ruining the Eagles. Did you have another one recent? Or I think that was the last one I saw. But
that was the most recent one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're working on some more. You got to write them. You got to edit them. You want to be interesting because it's short.
It takes a little bit.
Swiping through real quick. It's like, okay, boring, move on. So, we have fun with it. But yeah, going back and researching the Chip Kelly stuff, you forget that he swapped. Nick Foles was a part of the Sam Bradford trade. Like, I totally forgot about that. I was like, oh yeah, it was Foles that we gave up plus draft picks to get Sam Bradford. And it was funny to just think back and go, Chip Kelly thought his offense would be best run by Sam Bradford. Yeah.
Remember those days, how far we've come. That was a red
flag. Yeah, that should have been a big indicator on what was going on with that one. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, I think so. That's one of the things, I mean, from the shorts and even the shows, really, I don't know how you feel about it, but I get refreshers on things that's like, oh yeah, like I remembered that of so many things that I'm going back and like, okay, I'm going to talk about this, but then what's relevant? You Google search and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I forgot about that. So, I mean, it's good. It keeps you up to date and also reminds you of these instances. But yeah, I was watching your Chip Kelly short and I was like, yeah, I already hated him, but now I really hate him again. So it's just a reminder.
Brian said Chip Kelly hired Jeff Stoutland. Yeah, he did do that. He did draft Lane Johnson. So, I mean, a broken clock's right twice a day, whatever the term is. But
that's true.
He had a lot of bad things. You go through, I mean, the fact that he got rid of Jackson, Macklin, Vic, even though Vic was still towards the end, he wasn't playing that great. Foles outplayed him that final year. And then Macklin, Jackson, Vic, and McCoy, all of them. You would think that in Chip Kelly's offense, you'd clean all those guys, but he cleaned house. He didn't like them. What are you going to do? Tracy Ann, quickly here at the buzzer before we're going to wrap up the show. She throws a $2 entry. You guys are great. Love the shorts. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
They're much harder to edit than you'd think, Tracy. 30 seconds of short is not 30 seconds of editing. Let's just say that. Goodness gracious, those things take forever.
A while.
It's fun, though. It's fun.
There's
it's fun
quite
whenever
a bit.
whenever they are actually doing well and having fun there. Jeez, we can't end because we have another one here. 10 entries, Alfonso. I've only been to one NFL game, Eagles at Dallas back in 2017, 2018. We had absolutely massacred that game. I love to sit with y'all and cheer for the Birds. There you go. There's 10 entries for your chance to do exactly that. I remember that game. Those primetime Cowboy games where the Eagles get obliterated were rough.
Very
rough to watch.
I was the year before, and that was a good game. It was a very good game.
There you go.
We obliterated them in Dallas. So I'm undefeated in Dallas. 2-0.
Yep.
So
Alfonso.
Keep it rolling.
Alfonso with the 10 entries there. We appreciate that. KO says, do you guys do your own editing or do you have a production team? No, we do not have production teams. This is all of our own editing at the moment. We would both love to have production teams.
Yeah. If anybody knows someone who's a professional who works for free or very, very cheap, let us know. That would be save so much time.
We need somebody who won the lottery, but also really likes editing and doesn't want to just ride a jet ski in a yacht all day and can edit for free for us. I'd hire you in a heartbeat. Sound great?
Yeah. Well, we'll give you a game ticket if you can find somebody who work for free and do all that. I'll pay for you to go to games. So
yeah. Josh needs to watch 20 episodes of The Office and 5 movies to do a short video. Yes, he does. Every time you have one of those inserts, I always go, how did you think of that? Because I go, oh, that's funny now, but my brain would never have been like, insert Michael Scott here because I just can't do it. My brain doesn't work that way. But Cheesesteak is right.
Yeah, well, I appreciate. I mean, I love movies. I think probably obviously for those that have seen the shows, but our thing that we do, Sandy and I are used to, I guess, busier these days with the shorts and the clips and everything else. But it used to be like always watch a show, a movie, like every single night. And so that's just the thing that we always have done. So I don't know, for a while, just going through, and I was like, yeah, why don't I start just throwing in some clips here, just some little inserts. So I have fun with it. It takes a little bit longer sometimes, especially the ones that you can't seem to find. You're like, I know I want that clip and no one's recorded it. So how am I going to actually get it into the show? But it's fun. It keeps me laughing.
Fun stuff. All right. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. We're going to wrap up here. We're up to an hour and 15, and it is bedtime for Josh's little one. So we're going to let
that it is
little Josh. I'm trying to think. Georgia's bedtime now. So we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. Appreciate you guys. Plenty more stuff happening next couple of days and weeks. Live shows happening every Wednesday. So if you joined us late, rewatch it, and of course, sub to both channels. See you guys in the next one.
We'll see you.